Ike, how we feeling, buddy?
Oh, Brother Spike, it's Friday. I'm feeling pretty good out here with the peeps on a Friday afternoon. Jackie Baseball, we got baseball on the tube. And, man, some movement in the lineup. Boy, they listen to the afternoon show down in Clearwater even. Holla at your boy.
Yep, movement in the lineup and movement somewhere else as Jesus Luzardo struck out. He 6 up, 6 down.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, don't even need a Blue Chew on this Friday afternoon.
I was going to say, is that his nickname?
What? Blue Chew?
Blue Chew, yeah.
No. Well, do you think we can get a story to top the Blue Chew story from yesterday today?
No, that was the best one I think I've ever heard.
Best one of all time.
Yeah.
What an endorsement.
Don't do it. Should never do it.
But-
Still a funny story.
But also chew it and do it.
Chew it and do it. Yeah, correct. So I say Football Friday because we can't escape it, right? Win the Super Bowl 3 weeks ago. Eagles always stay in the news, and Eagles continue to be in the news down at the NFL Draft Combine in regard to Myles Garrett. Here is what the Athletic's Diana Rossini had to say about the Eagles' interest in Garrett.
You got Josh Sweat, you got Brandon Graham, you got Zach Bond, you got Mekhi Becton, Avonte Maddox. They got a bunch of guys they got to do. And look, with free agency coming up, lots of agents, teams are meeting. They're having conversations about who they're going to be going after. And I really expect Zach Bond to have a great market, right? After having the year he had, there are a lot of teams.
I thought you were going to say for sure sign back.
No, there are a lot of teams in on Zach Bond. So I think he's going to be expensive for Philadelphia if they want to do it. I just think they may get outpriced there. So we'll see how that comes together.
Yeah. I would imagine, like, you tell me if I'm right, like Zach Bond, Mekhi Becton are the two that they got to have back. Like, I don't think they can keep Milton Williams at a salary he's going to get, right?
Yeah, I would be surprised if Milton Williams stayed. It could happen, but that does make a lot of sense. I think they're going to make an effort here, but here's what some people are saying right now, that Howie's willing to move on from some of these guys because he's looking to make a big swing and take a big swing. And that big swing would be for Myles Garrett.
That's my guy right there. That's my guy, Howie, right now. Now, by the way, that's the first time we have heard publicly that there was going to be an aggressive market on Zach Bond. I think when we had talked about Bond before, not that there wouldn't be teams after him, but he would be at a price that we all felt like the Eagles could keep. Here's what I'm thinking about Myles Garrett. I just don't care what it costs us anymore. I don't care what it costs us in retaining players. I don't care what it costs us in retaining draft picks. I don't care if it – and Zach Bond had a great season for the Eagles last year, but Myles Garrett to me is a bigger impact player. The future is great, but the future is now. If the Eagles can get another Super Bowl in the next 2 years, that means a lot. That's everything. So I just don't care what it costs for Myles Garrett anymore. If it's 2 first-round picks, if it means we don't keep Mekhi Becton and Zach Bond and those guys walk, I'm good with it. Go get me Myles Garrett. Howie season, let's go.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, I think the details do matter. I think it does matter because, quite frankly, Myles Garrett has been on defenses in Cleveland that you could say rival the Eagles' defense. Now, they didn't finish number one, but they've had talent in Cleveland. Denzel Ward, they've had talent in Cleveland. I don't remember Cleveland ever doing anything. Right? So, and I understand they don't have the offense that the Eagles have, but my whole point in saying all this is it takes more than Myles Garrett. It takes more than Myles Garrett to be a good defense, right? So you're going to put more pressure on your offense to have to be more efficient when your defense is the real reason why, and your running game, the reason why you won this past year is your defense was 1/10 of a point away from being the number one scoring defense in the league, as well as the number one overall yardage defense in the league without a player like Myles Garrett on the team. And the reason why that happened is because it's the sum of all the parts. All the parts matter. And when you start losing guys like Milton Williams and BG and Slay and Zach Bond, your defense isn't going to be as good, even with Myles Garrett. Now, it doesn't mean you can't eventually put a defense around him to go win with. I understand that part of it. What I'm saying is when you decide to give up draft capital, by the way, you're not replenishing those players that left with high picks. right? So now you got to be even more diligent in your homework and everything else when you select players, right? So that also matters. And as it is with all drafts, the law of averages is, yeah, you hit on a few picks for a couple years, you're probably going to miss on a few there as well. Nobody hits on all the picks every year. Like, it just doesn't happen. So I say that to say I'm not necessarily willing to give up draft capital and salary cap space because Myles Garrett is going to cost you somewhere in the $35 to $40 million a year range. So when you sign him there for the next 3 to 4 years, by the way, you really need to sign him to a 5 or 6 year deal so you can stretch the money out, because if it's a 4-year deal, that money is hitting your cap every year at $40 million a year. So that's going to hurt you. How does that help you when trying to look to re-sign some of your other talent? So bringing in a Myles Garrett puts more pressure on you to have to win now, because you're going to start losing guys. You want to lose Mekhi Becton too? Okay, all right. Offensive line better be good this year. You got another year of Saquon Barkley, who you can't put as much tread on him. I mean, you can't put as much wear and tear on his body again this year. You make a move like this, and you give up the ability to add talent to your roster. I'm just saying, I don't know if anybody would be upset if they got Myles Garrett. What I'm saying is, your expectations, they may be high and exciting when you initially get him, but it's going to be some tough sledding. By the way, you got Patrick Mahomes this year. You got Josh Allen this year. We got Justin Herbert this year.
Yep.
Right? It's a pretty tough schedule this year. Just saying, you do that. Hope they're right.
I'm just saying the future's now. Like, to me, the future's now.
We just won the Super Bowl.
Yes. So I'm not worried about 3 or 4 years from now. I'm worried about this year. I'm worried about capitalizing in the next 2 years. And if that means Zach Bond walks, he was a great player. This isn't I don't think it's disrespectful.
Well, it's more than Zach Bond.
Well, right, but I
think this impacts more than Zach Bond.
Sure. And it probably impacts more than this free agent class, because I don't think Josh Sweat's coming back. I don't think Milton Williams is coming back.
Hell, if you get Myles Garrett, none of those guys
none
are
of those
coming
guys.
back.
But I don't.
None of those guys are
actually,
coming back.
I don't think those guys are coming back anyway.
Sure.
If I'm going to spend big money, it's going to be on a big talent. And I think Myles Garrett is a big talent. 215-592-9494. Do you want Myles Garrett if it means giving up Zach Bond, if it means giving up draft picks, if it means giving up Mekhi Becton? I think Zach Bond is the one that people would be the most emotional about, because he was such a great player here, and I think everybody expects him to be the guy that they bring back. But I would hate to lose him, but I look at the talent of Myles Garrett and feel like he's got 2 or 3 prime years left. And that was the one thing that this defense was missing last year, was an animal on the edge.
I didn't notice it.
Well, you'll notice it when it's there.
Well, I'm just saying, I didn't notice they were missing that type of player this year. I didn't notice it. They had the best defense in football this year.
I want a better best defense in football.
You can't have better than the best.
Watch it.
Well, no, if you already won, you can't go higher.
Well, you can be a better one than you were.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I want the best one in the league. Like, the
best one in the league.
Well, I just think on that side, if we're going from Jalix Hunt, Brandon Graham, and Bryce Huff to Myles Garrett, it's an insane upgrade. Now, we will be downgrading. We'll be downgrading on probably on tackle with Milton Williams gone. We'll be downgrading on linebacker. But that upgrade to me is worth it. 215-592-9494. Jack, what are you thinking?
Did we not just learn our lesson with Saquon Barkley? Like, Saquon Barkley was a special talent in a bad situation that came to a great situation, and we all were reminded that this guy is a Hall of Famer, not Hall of Fame talent. Myles Garrett's already a lock. I mean, Myles Garrett's already a Hall of Famer. And, like, I know he's 29 going on 30, but he seems like such a genetic freak. Like, I don't worry about him not lasting long term. And the other thing that has to be factored in, Zach Bond was on a 1-year deal. How much was he, like, that much more emphasized on going all out and proving in a contract year that he's worth more? So could he have a step back once he gets a deal? Milton Williams, same kind of thing. He was on the last year of a deal. You got to prove it so you can get paid in free agency. Javon Hargrave did the same thing, and then he's been horrible for the Niners. So I know Myles Garrett's a superstar. I know Myles Garrett's a Hall of Famer. I think we've got, like, Had the Eagles not won the Super Bowl, and I know they won the Super Bowl, had they not won the Super Bowl, this is a no-brainer. This is where we're getting a little clouded in this team winning the Super Bowl.
No, because when you actually accomplish a goal, you can take a step back and not have to be in such a panic, rush, desperate mode of doing things. That's the benefit of actually winning. That's the benefit of winning, is that you don't have to operate in this desperate mode and make rash decisions as if it's the last opportunity you're going to have. The benefit of winning allows you to think forward, down the road. How can I retain Jalen Carter? How can I retain Nolan Smith, who's much younger than Myles Garrett? How can I retain Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell? Like, how can I re-sign these players? And I got to give Jalen Hurts another contract in 2 years. Hell, Devontae Smith may need one. Like, how can I retain these players versus getting the guy? You actually put more pressure on yourself to have to go win when you give up all of that for an older, aging star.
I want the pressure. That sort of.
See, I don't think they have to operate under pressure. I think they've earned the right to be prudent and diligent and moving forward and being smart. They've earned the ability, the right to do that. I'm not saying next year you shouldn't be trying to go win the Super Bowl. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is you just won the Super Bowl, and so you can operate thinking about the future as well and making sure you spread that money out. You're about to have a player on the defense making more than a quarterback until you re-sign the quarterback. That's not how the Eagles operate.